How you doing? Stefan Dennis here, better known as Paul Robinson to you guys. Why don't you catch my interview on the fan carpet? Yeah, he's in a hell of a pickle because he's about to go down for murder, basically. The cause of the explosion, the Lassiter's explosion, and he's facing an 18-year jail term. And even if he's a good boy, he's still going to serve 14 years. And so, you know, at this stage in Paul's life, he's pretty much given up. It's the first time ever you are witnessing a defeated Paul, a totally defeated Paul. He's, you know, for the man who is the eternal optimist when it comes to being able to overcome anything. He gives up. I think the most fascinating is the fact that he decides to do a run at it right at the last second. You know, he's been found with incriminating evidence, damning evidence in his briefcase. He scrubbed the CCTV footage which showed him going down the stairwell. He is now known to have hired Cecilia to mess things up a bit. And then, the death's knock, he decides to sort of skip bail, which, you know, puts Steph in a terrible predicament as well, because she's about to lose not only her livelihood with the motel, but also her son. You know, it means she's going to lose her son, which she's fought so hard to regain the relationship and the custody of her son. So, you know, it's just everything. He's being a very, very stupid boy. So it's no wonder when the jury is faced with all of this evidence, you know, as I say, it's incredibly damning that they're just going to go, mate, you're guilty. No ifs, buts or maybes about it. Yeah, we're talking about Paul Robinson here. Paul never forgives. Paul never forgets and never forgives. And he's the Cheshire Cat. You know, he'll smile this huge grin while just twisting a knife in your back, because Paul's not somebody you cross. He remembers forever, and he will let you get away with it for a long time. You know, it might be years later, and then all of a sudden, you know, in the middle of the night, whoa, watch it. Yeah. Fireworks, I would imagine. On the back of what I've just said, you know, it's never a dull moment with Paul, honestly. You know, even when he's having a little hiatus in storylines and things that just sort of smoothing along, there's always something bubbling underneath. So, you know, without giving away anything, there's something huge coming up. You know, we talk about this one, and now there's another huge thing coming up very soon. So, yeah, it's always something bubbling. Well, it's interesting because he used to have a hell of a lot of underworld contacts, you know, contacts with all the wrong people, but all the right people to him. But as he said, when he became mayor, he got rid of all of those contacts. He had to, because he was the mayor. And so, you know, whether he would sort of regain, but I guess if he was in prison, he would very, very quickly get a group again of contacts. And a prison break, I don't know, be a good spin-off series. But yeah, I think, even though I've just said that Paul will survive and he's completely defeated man, at some point he's got to start going, you know what, I can't just give up, I've got to do something. What it would be, I don't know. It could be a prison break, it could be, you know, somehow finding the funds to get a team of lawyers to appeal and overturn it. I don't know, but we're talking about a character who just doesn't take no for an answer. Of course it's great, you know, to be, I wasn't there for the whole 30 years. I'm about to tick over 20 years in total, but I was, pretty much everybody knows I was out of the show for 12 years. But every day I feel I'm blessed. I'm so fortunate to have the job that I've got in an industry that's so fickle and so insecure. To have, you know, a job that's as secure as it could possibly be in this industry, but also a job that's so much fun's the wrong word, although we do have tremendous fun at work. You know, even though we might be doing things like the explosion story, you know, harrowing storylines like that, but we, as the actors and the crew, we have a hell of a lot of fun in between. And and people go, oh, you know, you just muck around and sit, and it's like, well, you've got to realise what's happening. You know, if we just had that tension building all the time, we'd be exhausted at the end of the day, and two, the tension would be too great, and you know, we'd break out in probably fisticuffs. And so we break that tension all the time, just joking, piss farting around. It's what we do, and you know, to the point where sometimes the first AD gets really angry. He's like, guys, come on, settle down, you know. But we had great fun. But you know, and I sort of relay that to another profession that I've been in, and that's chefing, and it's the same sort of thing. I relate to that in the same way. You've got you know, a job that is so high pressure for you know, 2 or 3 hours, and then there's a break, and then there's really high pressure again for another few hours, and then you go home. And during that pressure, I've always worked in kitchens where you know, the staff in the kitchens just joke around to break that tension and that pressure. And it's exactly the same thing in acting in an ongoing series. Yeah. I don't know. That's the most difficult question that's ever asked of me. I should have, you know, after all of these years, I should have an answer, and I get flummoxed by it every single time. I don't know. The most fun, just going to work and you know, having fun with what I do. I love the crew. I love the cast. I hope they like me as much. Yeah, I mean, we just get up to naughtiness all the day. You know, we I think it sounds very childish, but some of the fun that I have is I'm notorious, both myself and Fletcher. I mean, we're just big kids sometimes. We hide and jump out, boom, and people when they're walking down the corridor. And, you know, it's silly, it's childish, but God, it's great fun. If I knew the absolute answer, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. I'd probably be on my very large yacht in the Bahamas. But I think the thing that I put it down to is the fact that Neighbours is designed to give the audience a ride. Every single episode is a ride. Occasionally we'll have a whole episode which might be very dramatic and very down and all of that, but generally what happens is we'll have the drama and the heavy drama, and it's like, but here's a bit of lightness. And then there's a bit more drama, and then there's a bit of mystery, and then there's a bit of lightness and all that. So you're getting this, you're getting good entertainment, and that's the secret, I think, is what Neighbours is. As far-fetched as some of the storylines are, as nonsensical as some of the characters are, as, you know, whatever, you know, it's a soap, thank goodness, that, you know, we can almost, when I say do anything sort of within vague realism. It's just full-on entertainment. It's absolute family entertainment, and it's a G-rated show, so it has to be family entertainment. It was a complete surprise because I went. I think the first reading was for the first audition was for Shane Ramsay, and then I got a call back. And you got to remember, I didn't actually want to do the show at the beginning. I was chasing a film at the time, and I was convinced I was going to get this film because it was about a infantryman in the Australian Light Horse during the First World War, and I'd just done the mini-series, The Flying Doctors, and had been trained by a chap called Graham Mafrick, who was one of the greatest stunt rider trainers in Australia. And so I was convinced, as far as I was concerned, this part was for me. It was written for me, and so I was convinced I was going to get this part. And in the meantime, Neighbours came up, and I said, I'll go and do it. And that was probably what got me the role, because I was so carefree about it. There was no nerves. I was just like, oh yeah, all right, I'll do it. But I still went in and did it professionally. You know, I didn't sort of like, you know, I treated it as a professional audition and screen test. And so I did Shane Ramsay first, and then they called me back, and then I was reading for Clarke. And they'd explained who Shane Ramsay was, and then they explained who Clarke was, and all that. And then I got a call from my agent saying, you've got the part. You know, a few days later they said, yeah, they want you to do it. You've got the part. And I was like, okay, great. And I waited for the scripts. The Clarke scripts came, and I got my first block of scripts, the first week of episodes. And I said, Paul Robertson on top of my mind. What? who's Paul Robbins? And thank God it did to this day, you know, because it was the best set of scripts that ever got sent to me. I'm always chasing film work. My greatest ambition has always been to do film work in front of the camera, but I've had the opportunity over the years to do behind the camera, producing, or co-producing, associate producing for a feature film, and also I'm now working on something with my brother. I'm working on some project with my brother. My number one, and it's stupid for me to sit here and say this, you know, because I'm one of the most fortunate actors in the world as far as I can see, because I'm working every day on a show that it cemented my career and that I love doing. But yeah, I'm an actor. I'm never going to stop looking.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can vote. I don't know if I'm even been nominated for one. I've never won a prize in my life for acting, so I don't expect to win one now. I'm not hopeful about that, but I certainly hope that Neighbours gets a bit of a mention, and I think it's very deserved. But you know, so many shows are. You know, I'm not singling out Neighbours. Obviously, I'm biased, and I would love Neighbours to get an award for best ensemble or best drama series or whatever. But yeah, I don't hold out any hope. I've never won an award. Actually, I'll tell a lie. I have won an award. I got the Enid Blyton Award for the best unscripted dialogue when I was doing a stage show. It was just a little mock-up. It was a little troll doll.
When was it?
Oh, this is back in the 90s when I was doing. Well, I can't even remember what the play was. It was. Oh yes, I do. It was Whose Life Is It Anyway? And I was playing Ken Harrington, the lead role. Which was an amazing role. I did the whole show, the 2-hour show, lying in bed, not being able to move anything but my head, because I was playing a quadriplegic. And I always remember it was because one of the actors was late on their cue to come on, and I just made up all this dialogue because I was the only person on the stage. There was myself and another actress who was the nurse, and I was going, I'm expecting Dr. So-and-so any moment, and all of a sudden, my watch obviously, and so I got that as a little mock-up award. Yeah. Well, I'm fully qualified, fully trained chef, but I shouldn't say that because I'm not anymore. I haven't cooked commercially for 31 years.
Was this before acting?
Well, my dad very wisely told me to get a trade or a profession. If I wanted to be in show business, he said, you know, do the sensible thing, because he said it's such an insecure business and such a fickle business, you know, you might be able to work an awful lot, son. And so I wisely took those words on board and I did a chefing apprenticeship, became fully trained, and it was really good for me. For the first 6 years when I moved to Melbourne, I got to use that chefing training in professional jobs, in between, you know, while I was trying to cement my career as an actor. And then of course I started getting more and more steady work, and then got the Flying Doctors mini-series, and on the back of that I actually got Neighbours, and haven't worked as a chef since. It was great, because we actually met doing a show together over here 25 years ago, and it's been 25 years in between gigs for the two of us together. And I mean, she's had a very successful career on the West End, and then now in Australia she's sort of, because she was full-time mum, and she's got a little business as well, a real estate business, and she was so she was concentrating all the time on that. But just in the last probably 2-3 years, I've noticed that she's been getting really itchy feet. And I said, why don't you get back into it? And she said, I don't want to do musical theatre anymore, which was her forte. I mean, she's a classically trained dancer and singer, and she said, no, my musical career days are over, musical theatre days are over. I don't want to do that anymore. I said, well, you know, there's other stuff, you know, get into sort of drama acting and all of that. So she did a play, she did a film, a little part in the film, which is really great. That's about to be released. And then she got people have obviously, you know, they're thinking that she got the gig on Neighbours because of me, but she didn't. I didn't even know about it. I was the last person to find out about it.
What was that like? Was that a surprise? She was like, oh, by the way, I'm actually on Neighbours there. Was that
no, it was the producer told me, because she actually got it on the back of an interview she did, an audition she did a couple of years before for another character in Neighbours, and she it got down to her and another actress, and the other actress ended up getting the part, and they've always kept her on file, and And I said, a couple of times I said to the casting director, I said, oh, do you ever look at Gail? And they were, oh yeah, we're always looking out for something for her. And then Julie Quill, which was originally an Indian character because her two children were, Tom Quill and, what's the daughter's name? Oh, wasn't it terrible? I can't remember the daughter's name. Anyway, they're of Indian descent. And so Julie Quill was originally a Junanaya or something Quill, and she was an Indian woman herself. And then they took a punt and they went, she's Gail, we really like her. And so they just rewrote the whole thing. And it was the Indian stepchildren. She's Scottish and she's got an Australian biological son to her second husband, or no, she was the second wife. And it all works, but I remember that I was in Jason Herberson's office. He's the executive producer, and we were talking about something else. And he said, "Oh, by the way, we've cast Gail as Julie Quill." I'm like, "Oh, okay, great." We've actually done a duet.
Have you?
Yeah, we have sung live on stage together before. So the answer to that, yes.
Okay.
We're great mates. Alan and I are great, and we both love music. And he's a very talented musician, but and he's good. He's a good showman, Alan. Yes, most definitely. Little Sarah, who plays, I shouldn't call her Little Sarah. Sarah, who plays Madison Robinson, who's Paul's niece. She's very much in the show at the moment, and she's adorable. I love working with her. And of course, there was Tim, who played Daniel. There's always a possibility that the character of Daniel could come back. And as far as any other Robinsons, who knows? Paul was in the airline for a while, and also was over in South America. Anything could happen. Could be a little knock on the door one day. I can't think of anybody that's. I've enjoyed working with pretty much everybody. I think that's so. I'd welcome anybody back, really. I'd like to do some more work with Colette, who plays Sheila. We used to have such a great on-screen relationship, and it's all gone by the wayside because he's got Robinson's Motel, and Sheila and Paul are a bit like, but we used to have a great time, Colette and I, taking the mickey out of each other, both on screen and off. I'd like to see some more of that. I love doing the work with Rebecca, really like that. I love the fact that they've introduced Paul and Steph together, in business, which is really sensible rather than trying to get them together romantically or something. It's really great. It's a really good dynamic there. Who else? I'd like to do more work with my wife.
And what storyline do you think they would compare you to with?
Who? What? Me?
You and your wife.
Oh, I don't know. Hey, never say never. There could be bromance down the track again, because there was in the past. When it's announced that his son Cameron has died, when he got hit by a car, and the moment that the doctor tells him that he's died, and he actually doesn't tell Paul, he tells Lynn. I'm pretty sure, if I remember the scene, and just Paul's reaction, the way that I played that was a defining, and it's really sad to say, but one of my favourite scenes that I've ever done in Neighbours. Same advice that my dad gave to me: get a trade or a profession first, so that you're going to be secure and always got something to fall back on. But apart from that, just study your craft. Really, get to know your craft, and don't take no for an answer. If you believe that you can do it and follow it and persevere. It's a bloody hard road, and I know people look at me and they go, oh, you've had it really easy. No, I haven't had it easy at all, and it's never easy. Every single day it's never easy. Just believe. I know it sounds really corny, but believe in what you can do. Believe in yourself and go for it. Go for your goals and train in more than one thing. Okay. Don't just rely on one thing. Don't just rely on acting. Do acting, singing, dancing, all of that, and be good at all of them. So you'll never know. You'll never know unless you take a risk. And the heavy accent on the word risk. It is risk. It is gambling. But there's good gambling and there's bad gambling, and risks are most of the time, if it's to further your knowledge and your beliefs and all of that, then yeah, take a risk, because you're never going to know unless you do it. Unless it's going to damage you or hurt other people, or have devastating results, then you take the risk.
Awesome.
Certainly in the career of acting. So on that,
Yes.
just wise words from Jack Nicholson. A good actor is somebody who's never afraid to make a dick of themselves. There's a risk.
Yes,
Another
that would
one
be
from
fun.
Gene Hackman for all aspiring actors. Always fill a gap with a thought.